Good morning. So today we are going to be working on our next lesson in illustrative math. So let's begin. So for our lesson today, there's not going to be anything new. Today we'll just focus on combining all the rules for powers of 10 that we've learned so far. So here we go. Here are the rules that we learned already so far. Multiplying powers of 10. So what does this look like? When we have 10 to the 7th power times 10 to the 5th power, or 10 to the 7th power times 10 to the 5th power, or 10 to the 7th power in parentheses times 10 to the 5th power in parentheses. So if you notice, what's different about the first two is we have a multiplication. The multiplication symbols look different, but they mean the same. And then in parentheses, this also means multiply. So we have three different ways that show multiplication. The rule, keep the base of 10 and then add our exponents. So if we were looking at this, we keep our base of 10, so 10, and we're going to add our exponents. 7 plus 5 is 12. 7 plus 5 is 12, and 7 plus 5 is 12. Next rule is a powers of 10. Powers of 10. What that means is we have a exponent inside parentheses and an exponent outside the parentheses. So we're raising to a power. So how we say this is 10 to the 7th power all raised to the 5th power. And our rule is keep the base of 10 and then just multiply our exponents. So in this case, we keep our base of 10 and multiply 7 times 5 is 35. Dividing powers of 10. What does this look like? 10 to the 7th divided by 10 to the 5th. Or it could look like this, kind of look like a fraction. 10 to the 7th over 10 to the 5th. So our rule is we're going to keep our base of 10, but we're going to subtract our exponents. So maybe it's going to be 7 minus 5 is 2, or 7 minus 5 is 2. So those are our three ways that we mainly use: multiplying powers of 10, powers of 10, and dividing powers of 10. We also learned that 10 to the 0 power is 1. All right, so I'd like you to pause the video and use the rules that we just went over to help you solve these 6 problems. All right, let's go over these. So if you remember, we have dividing powers of 10. So our rule was we're going to keep our base of 10, and we're going to subtract our exponents. 13 minus 9 is 4. So it would be 10 to the 4th power. This one we have powers to a power. So our rule is keep our base of 10, but multiply our exponents. 11 times 2 is 22. This one, we are in our rule, we are going to keep we're just multiplying powers of 10. So it's going to be keep our rule as keep the base of 10, and we're going to add our exponents. 3 plus 7 is 10, so it's going to be 10 to the 10th power. Our next problem is very similar to what we just did. It just looks different. We have a multiplication, but we have in parentheses, we're going to add our exponents. So it's going to be keep our base of 10 and add 4 plus 2 is 6. So 10 to the 6th power. This one is dividing our powers of 10. So in our rule, we have to subtract our exponents and keep our base. So keep our base of 10. 15 minus 6 is 9. So it's 10 to the 9th power. And this one is going to be similar to this one as well as this one. So our rule was keep our base of 10 and add our exponents. So 5 plus negative 5, which would be 0. So 10 to the 0 power, which equals 1. All right, how'd we do? Hope you did all right on those. If you're still getting hung up on those and how to solve those, please let Miss Cumber or myself know so we can help you. All right, so for your practice right now, we're about halfway through the lesson, but we want you to get some practice on this by going to Quizlet. You can play any of the games or practice the flashcards. I expect you to spend at least 10 minutes of practicing. Hint, if you play Gravity, type in 10 first, then add exponents by clicking on the numbers at the bottom of the screen. Come back when you're done. All right, so this would be where you're going to go. And you can play multiple games here. This one's just the flashcards. You want to play Gravity. What Miss Cumber was referring to on the Gravity one. So if you're starting, you need to type in 10 first. Okay? All right. So let's move on. All right, now let's combine the rules into one problem. So we're going to take everything we've learned so far and make our problems a little bit more difficult, but we're going to follow the same rules. So in this equation, we just want to simplify this. So we have things that are going on at the top of our fraction bar, and there's a number below our fraction bar. So we have to simplify this thing. So the first thing we need to do, there's a multiplication and division problem here. So we have two things going on. So let's take care of the top part first. So we'll simplify this. So if you remember, we're going to be keeping our base. Since we're multiplying our powers, it's multiplication powers, we're going to add our exponents. So it's going to be 8 plus 5 is 13. So it'll be 10 to the 13th. And we'll keep our bottom the same. Now, you can see that this is just a simple division problem. So if you remember, we're dividing powers of 10. We are going to keep our base at 10 and subtract our exponent. So it's 13 minus 2 is 11. So our final answer would be 10 to the 11th power. So this is not the only way you could have solved this. Look at the next slide for a different way to solve this the same problem. All right, let's take a look. All right, same problem. How could we have done this a little bit different? So there's a multiplication and division problem. We already know that. So let's look at this. Let's simplify this division problem first. So we know we can, if we're dividing powers, we're going to keep our base the same and subtract our exponents. So if we did that, 5 minus 2 is 3. So this essentially would cancel out, would be gone. But we still have this 10 to the 8th power. Now it's just a simple multiplication problem. We always put the solution to the division problem on the top, okay? So when we subtracted these, 5 minus 2, we always put our answer, our solution, at the top of our fraction bar here. So now it's just a multiplication. So we're going to keep our bases the same, add our exponents, so 3 plus 8 is 11. So it's going to be 10 to the 11th power. So if you notice, it's the same exact answer we had from the prior slide, just a different way to solve the problem. All right, let's try some more. Let's simplify this one. So I want to do the top part first. So if you notice, we're multiplying powers, so we're just going to add up our exponents, keep our base the same. So 10, so we're going to go 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 plus 6 is 12, so 10 to the 12th power. And I'm just going to carry over whatever was on the bottom over. So now we're simplified at the top, we have to simplify the bottom. So we have to, once again, it's a multiplication power, so we're going to add our exponents, keep our base the same. So 5 plus 3 is 8, so it's going to be 10 to the 12th on stays the same. But we're going to simplify this to be 10 to the 8th. Now it's just a simple division of powers, so we're going to keep our base the same and subtract our exponents. 12 minus 8 is 4, so it's 10 to the 4th power. All right. Let's try this one. All right, so this one's going to deal a little bit of order of operations. So if you remember in order of operations, we need to take care of the parentheses. What's inside the parentheses? We have to take care of all of this first before we even look at this exponent of 2, this power of 2. So let's do that first. So first thing I'm going to do is simplify the top. So I'm going to add our exponents together. So 7 plus 4 is 11, so 10 to the 11th power. And I'm just going to carry over our 10 to the 3rd since we didn't do anything with it. Now I can simplify this further. This is just a division problem. So I'm going to subtract my exponents. 11 minus 3 is 8, so it's going to be 10 to the 8th power. And we still have this squared outside our parentheses. Now we just have a powers to powers. And what we do here, we just multiply our exponents. We keep the base the same, we multiply our exponents. So it's be 10 to the 8 times 2 is 16, so 10 to the 16th power. All right. So this is not the only way you could solve this, so let's look at the next one. Show how we could have solved the same exact problem. So same exact problem. So instead of simplifying on top, let's take a look at this. So this exponent applies to the entire problem. So let's take care of that first. So what we're going to do, this is a power of a power. Keep the base and multiply the exponents. So if we did this, just like a distributed property, we're going to distribute, we're going to multiply our exponent times all our exponents inside our parentheses. So it's going to be 10 to the 7 times 2 is 14, so 10 to the 14th power. And we keep our times. Times 10 to 4 times 2 is 8, so 8th power. Then going below our fraction bar, 10 to the 3rd times 2, so it would be 10 to the 6th power. 3 times 2 is 6. So that's how we came up with this. Now we got rid of our exponent, our power. So now we can simplify on top. So if we did that, we're going to keep our base of 10 and add our exponents. So 14 plus 8 is 22. Keep our 10 to the 6th. Now it's just our simple division of powers. So we're going to subtract our exponents, keep our base the same. So it'd be 10, 22 minus 6 is 16. So 10 to the 16th power. All right, that's just another way you could have solved this problem. All right, let's try some more. Here we go. So I'm going to try simplifying the top, then simplifying the bottom, and then combining from there, divide through the division. So let's start with the bottom first. So we have 10 to the 2nd power in parentheses, all raised to the 4th power. So it's powers to powers. So to keep our base the same, 2 times 4 is 8, 10 to the 8th. I'm going to keep what I had on the top as the same. Now I want to look at simplifying my top. So when you don't see an exponent, so we have a 10 to the 10th here, just 10 and 10 to the 6th. When you don't see an exponent, there's always an assumption there's a 1 here. Okay? So when we are following multiplying powers, we are going to add our exponents. So it's going to be 10 plus 1 plus 6. Okay, so 10 plus 1 is 11, plus 1 more, I'm sorry, 10 plus 1 is 11, plus 6 more is 17. So 10 to the 17th power over 10 to the 8th. And our last step is just dividing in power, so we subtract our exponents and keeping our base of 10. So 10, our answer is going to be 10 to the 9th power. 17 minus 8 is 9. 10 to the 9th power. All right. Here we go. Let's get some really tough ones. So this time, we got to find out what the missing exponent would be. Kind of like an algebra problem. How would we do this? So this is a multiplication problem. So I would have to add the exponents. We have to ask ourselves, so 3 plus what number will get us to 15? So 3 plus what number equals 15? Well, the missing exponent will have to be 12, because 3 plus 12 is 15. Or the other way you could have done it is, think of this as x, or a variable here, x and a, b, whatever you want. We'd subtract 3 from both sides, and 15 minus 3 is 12. So then x would equal 12. That's another way to think of this. All right, let's look at this one. Powers to powers. So if we remember, when we're multiplying powers to powers, we're going to multiply our exponents. So 3 times what number is going to equal 24? 3 times 8, right? 3 times what? 8 will equal 24. All right. What number? So we're dividing powers here. So we're going to subtract our exponents. What number does this have to be minus 8 will equal 15. So I'll subtract the exponent. So what number minus 8 equals 15? 23 minus 8 equals 15. The other one, you could just think of this as x minus 8, so we're going to add 8 to both sides. 15 plus 8 is 23. So that's another way to think of it, doing this algebraically. All right, so now click here to complete your practice for today. You will need to break out of all the locks and then upload a screenshot of the open locks to Schoology. This is meant to be challenging, so email Ms. Cumber if you need help or myself. So let's take a look. This is what it's going to look like. I'm not going to go through it, but this is what you're going to have to do for Flippity. So you're going to click on any lock to get started. Say we'll start at 1, doesn't matter. You can pick on which one you want. And you're just going to solve. What is the missing exponent? So 10 to the 4th times 10 to what will equal 10 to the 9th. What does that exponent have to be? Well, 4 plus what equals 9? 4 plus 5. There we go. So we got it right. It unlocked. All right, you're just going to keep going. So if we go back to our arrow, notice I got that done. And you're going to work your way through all 8 of your locks. When you have it complete, take a screenshot and then upload it to Schoology. All right, that's it for the day. Have a fantastic day.